Have you ever noticed something strange while learning English? You hear a simple sentence like, "How are you?" But inside your mind, your brain quickly translates it into your native language first, and only then you understand it. And when you try to speak, the same thing happens again. First, you create the sentence in your own language. Then you translate it into English. Then you check the grammar. Then you become nervous. And finally, the moment is gone. This is one of the biggest reasons why millions of English learners understand English slowly and speak English with hesitation. The problem is not intelligence. The problem is not grammar. The problem is not vocabulary. The real problem is mental translation. Your brain is trying to use two languages at the same time, and because of that, your speaking becomes slow, stressful, and unnatural. But here is the good news. You can train your brain to understand English directly, without translating every word. Children do this naturally. Fluent speakers do this automatically, and you can learn this skill too. In this video, you will understand why your brain translates everything, why this habit is slowing your fluency, and most importantly, how to stop translating in your head and start thinking in English naturally. So relax, listen carefully, and let's begin. Imagine this situation. You are watching an English movie. A character says, "I'm starving." Instead of understanding the feeling immediately, your brain starts working like a machine. I means I am. Starving means very hungry. Then your brain translates the whole sentence into your language. Only after that, you finally understand the meaning. But fluent speakers do not do this. When they hear starving, they instantly imagine hunger. Maybe they imagine food. Maybe they imagine a person who has not eaten all day. The meaning appears directly in their mind without translation. That is the difference between learning English like a subject and learning English like a real language. Most schools teach English through translation. Teachers give vocabulary lists. Students memorize meanings. Exams test grammar rules. So your brain becomes dependent on translation from the very beginning. For example, apple means, chair means, run means. Your brain creates a permanent connection between English and your native language instead of connecting English directly to images, emotions, actions, and experiences. That habit becomes stronger every year. And later, when you try to speak English in real life, your brain still follows the same old system. Native language first, English second. This is why speaking feels slow, because translation takes time. Think about professional interpreters. Even they need a few seconds to translate languages. Now imagine your brain trying to do that during a fast conversation. It becomes exhausting. This is also why many learners say, "I can understand English a little, but I cannot speak fast," because understanding through translation is already slow. Speaking through translation is even slower. Your brain is carrying extra weight during every conversation. Now here is something important. Translation is not always bad. In the beginning stages of learning, translation can help you survive. It can help you understand basic meanings. It can help you learn vocabulary quickly. But if you continue depending on translation forever, your fluency gets trapped. At some point, your brain must build direct English connections. You must hear English and feel the meaning instantly, without subtitles in your mind, without mental dictionaries, without panic. And yes, this transformation is possible. But first, you need to understand something very important about the human brain. Your brain learns languages through patterns and repetition, not through grammar rules alone. Think about how children learn their first language. A baby does not study grammar books. A baby does not memorize translation lists. The baby hears thousands of repeated sounds connected to real situations. Come here, eat your food, go to sleep, good job. Slowly, the brain connects sounds with actions, emotions, and experiences. That is how language becomes natural. But many adult learners learn English differently. They learn through analysis instead of experience. They focus too much on rules and too little on real exposure. So English stays trapped inside the study section of the brain instead of becoming a living language. To stop translating, you must change the way your brain experiences English. And the first step is simple. Stop trying to understand every single word. This is one of the biggest mistakes learners make. They pause videos repeatedly. They check dictionaries every minute. They panic when they hear unknown vocabulary. But fluent understanding does not come from understanding every word. It comes from understanding the message. For example, imagine someone says, "Yesterday I missed the bus, got late for work, and my boss was really upset." Maybe you do not know every word perfectly, but you can still understand the situation. That is enough. Your brain learns faster when you focus on meaning instead of perfect translation. This is exactly how children learn languages. They understand the situation first. The exact vocabulary becomes clear later. So the next time you listen to English, stop fighting every unknown word. Instead, ask yourself, what is happening? What emotion is being expressed? What is the general idea? This small change trains your brain to process English naturally. Now, let's talk about another powerful technique. Using images instead of translations. Suppose you hear the word beach. Do not translate it into your language. Instead, imagine the beach directly. Imagine waves, sand, sunlight, people walking near the ocean. Now, the English word connects directly to an image. This is extremely important because fluent speakers do not translate words into another language inside their minds. They connect words directly to ideas, memories, and emotions. You must train your brain to do the same thing. Whenever you learn new vocabulary, try this method. Do not memorize translation only. Create a mental picture. If the word is angry, imagine an angry face. If the word is delicious, imagine your favorite food. If the word is storm, imagine dark clouds and heavy rain. This method may feel slow at first, but over time, your brain starts understanding English directly, and that is the real goal. Now here is another secret many learners ignore. Listening is more important than speaking. In the beginning, many students force themselves to speak too early, while their brains still depend heavily on translation. As a result, speaking becomes stressful. But when you listen to large amounts of understandable English every day, something amazing happens. Your brain starts recognizing patterns automatically. You stop building sentences word by word. Instead, your mind starts remembering entire phrases naturally. For example, "How's it going? I don't think so. That makes sense. I'm just kidding. Give me a minute." Fluent speakers use language chunks, not isolated grammar calculations. And listening helps your brain absorb these chunks naturally. That is why daily listening is so powerful, especially slow, clear English listening content. The more English enters your ears, the more natural English becomes inside your brain. This is why many learners suddenly say, "I don't know how, but now understand English faster." Their brains are finally building direct connections. So if you truly want to stop translating, listening practice is not optional. It is essential. Now, let's discuss another common problem. Fear. Many learners translate because they are afraid of misunderstanding. They want perfect accuracy, perfect grammar, perfect pronunciation. But language is not mathematics. Real communication is messy sometimes. Even native speakers misunderstand each other occasionally. If you wait for perfect English before speaking naturally, you will stay trapped forever. You must allow your brain to become comfortable with uncertainty. Sometimes you will not understand every word. Sometimes your sentence will be imperfect. That is normal. Fluency grows through communication, not perfection. Think about learning to ride a bicycle. In the beginning, you feel unstable. You may fall. You may feel embarrassed. But slowly, your body learns balance. Naturally. Language works the same way. Your brain needs real practice, real listening, and real exposure, not endless fear. Now, let's explore one of the most effective exercises for stopping mental translation. Thinking in English. At first, this sounds impossible for many learners. They think, how can I think in English when my English is weak? But thinking in English does not start with complicated ideas. It starts with simple observations. For example, I'm tired. This food is good. The weather is hot. I need water. That car is fast. Small thoughts. Simple sentences. During your daily life, try describing things around you in easy English. When you wake up, say, I need to get up. I'm brushing my teeth. I'm making tea. This exercise trains your brain to produce English directly without translation. And over time, your inner voice slowly changes. At first, your brain will resist. Translation habits are powerful, but with repetition, direct English thinking becomes easier. Another useful technique is shadowing. Shadowing means listening to English audio and repeating it immediately like an echo, not after 10 seconds, not after translating, immediately. This forces your brain to process English faster. It also improves pronunciation, rhythm, and confidence. Choose short clips with clear pronunciation. Listen carefully. Repeat instantly. Copy the speaker's emotion and tone. At first, you may struggle, but after enough practice, your brain starts reacting to English automatically. This is exactly what you need. Automatic processing. Now, let's talk about subtitles. Many learners depend too much on subtitles in their own language. This creates a dangerous habit. Your eyes keep returning to your native language, and your brain never learns to trust English directly. If possible, reduce native language subtitles slowly. First, use English subtitles only. Later, try watching short videos without subtitles completely. In the beginning, your understanding may drop. That is normal. Your brain is adjusting. Remember, growth often feels uncomfortable. When a child learns to walk, falling is part of learning. When your brain learns direct English understanding, confusion is part of learning too. Do not panic. Stay consistent. Now, let's discuss why some learners improve suddenly after months of slow progress. This happens because language learning is often invisible at first. Your brain quietly absorbs patterns every day. Even when you feel stuck, your mind is building connections internally. Then one day, something changes. You hear a sentence and understand it instantly. No translation, no effort. That moment feels magical, but it is actually the result of hundreds of hours of listening and exposure. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. Studying English for 10 hours once a week is less effective than listening for 30 minutes every day. Your brain loves repeated exposure. Small daily contact with English creates long-term fluency. Now here is another important truth. You do not need to translate grammar rules while speaking. Many learners freeze because they mentally check grammar during conversations. Should I use present perfect? Is this sentence correct? Which tense should I use? Meanwhile, the conversation continues, and confidence disappears. Fluent speaking is too fast for conscious grammar analysis. Grammar becomes natural through repeated exposure. Think about driving a car. In the beginning, every movement requires conscious thinking. Brake, mirror, clutch, gear. But after enough practice, many actions become automatic. Language develops the same way. Through repetition, patterns become instinctive. So instead of obsessing over every grammar rule during conversation, focus more on understandable input and communication. Accuracy improves gradually with exposure. Now, let's talk about pronunciation and why it affects mental translation. When learners pronounce English words incorrectly in their minds, recognition becomes slower. For example, if you learned a word through reading only, your brain may store the wrong sound. Then during listening, your brain struggles to recognize it quickly. This is why listening and pronunciation practice are connected. The more accurately your brain recognizes English sounds, the faster understanding becomes. English is not only vocabulary, it is also rhythm, stress, connected speech, and sound patterns. That is why listening to real spoken English every day is extremely powerful. Your ears train your brain. Now imagine two learners. The first learner studies grammar books every day, but rarely listens to real English. The second learner listens to English daily, watches videos, repeats phrases, and practices thinking in English. Who will stop translating faster? Usually, the second learner. Because fluency grows through exposure and familiarity, not only through theory. This does not mean grammar is useless. Grammar is important, but grammar should support communication, not block it. Your goal is not to become a walking grammar book. Your goal is to understand and express ideas naturally. Now, let's discuss something psychological. Identity. Many learners feel strange speaking English. Why? Because English feels like a performance instead of a natural part of themselves. They become self-conscious. They worry about accents. They worry about mistakes. They worry about judgment. As a result, their brains return to translation for safety. But language learning requires emotional freedom too. You must allow yourself to sound imperfect sometimes. Every fluent speaker was once a beginner. Every confident speaker once made embarrassing mistakes. Mistakes are not proof of failure. They are proof of practice. And interestingly, the more relaxed your brain becomes, the less it translates. Stress slows language processing. Confidence speeds it up. So stop trying to sound perfect immediately. Focus on connection and communication first. Now here is a practical daily routine that can help reduce mental translation. First, listen to simple English content every morning for 15 to 30 minutes. Choose content you mostly understand. Not too easy, not too difficult. Second, repeat useful phrases aloud. Not individual words, only complete phrases. Third, practice small English thoughts during daily activities. Fourth, reduce native language subtitles gradually. Fifth, stop pausing constantly to translate unknown words. And finally, stay patient, because rewiring your brain takes time. Remember, your brain has probably spent years depending on translation. That habit will not disappear overnight. But if you continue exposing yourself to understandable English daily, your mind slowly changes. One day, you will notice something beautiful. You will hear English and simply understand it, No mental dictionary, no translation process, just understanding. That moment changes everything. Conversations become smoother, listening becomes enjoyable, speaking becomes more natural, and most importantly, English stops feeling foreign. It starts feeling familiar. Now, before we finish, let's remember the most important idea from this entire video. You do not become fluent by translating faster. You become fluent by understanding directly. Translation is like using a bridge. Useful at first, but eventually, you must learn to walk without it. So do not fear slow progress. Do not fear mistakes. Do not fear confusion. Your brain is learning. Every English sentence you hear is training your mind. Every phrase you repeat is building new neural connections. Every moment of practice is moving you closer to direct understanding. Fluency is not magic. It is repetition, exposure, patience, consistency, and yes, you are capable of it. One day, English will stop feeling like a puzzle to solve. It will start feeling like a language you truly understand, naturally, instantly, comfortably. So keep listening, keep practicing, and most importantly, stop translating every word and start experiencing English directly, because that is the moment real fluency begins.